Hey girls, Miss Gaska here. I'm going to help you with your first assignment for 7th grade English, which is going to be 4.1. And if I could find space within this video, I will also help you with 4.2. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is open Foxit Reader, which if you haven't downloaded it, then you need to go back and watch the videos under the discussion post for 4.6.20. Now that I have it open, I'm going to open the file. This you should have already downloaded from Canvas. If you haven't already downloaded it, please go back and download that before you proceed with this video. You're going to need that file already downloaded. You're going to need Foxit already downloaded in order to follow along. So, what should open once you download is Unit 4, How We Choose to Act. So, you're going to be learning about the choices that writers make with their language in order to create an intended effect, as well as the way a presenter or speaker delivers information. We're going to also analyze poetry as well as various characters, and there will also be a little bit of Shakespeare in this, which the story you guys are going to be reading is a lot of fun. So, we're going to start by today doing 4.1, which is previewing the unit, and if we could get to it, 4.2. Now, notice here how on the second page of the the first page of the table of contents, you have the academic vocabulary, which is precise, structure, improvise, and diagram. And you also have literary terms: persona, oral interpretation, rhyme scheme, alliteration, assonance, consonance, monologue, pantomime, verse, prose, poetic devices, internal rhyme, parody, vocal delivery, visual delivery, and dialogue. Those are your vocabulary words that you're going to be learning throughout this unit and that you will need to know by the time you complete the unit. So, Activity 4.1 is previewing the unit. The strategies that it wants you to use are QHT, marking the text, and skimming and scanning. So the learning targets for this activity are to identify the skills and knowledge needed to complete Embedded Assessment 1 successfully, and preview and choose a text for independent reading and set goals in an independent reading plan. So, first, making connections. It says, in this unit, you will study oral presentations and performance. You will be making creative choices about how to write and present a monologue. You will also present a scene from Shakespeare and will make choices about how to address your audience as a performer. So, your essential questions. Number 1 says, how do writers and speakers use language for effect? And number 2 is, how do performers communicate meaning to an audience? So, as I showed you before, under this comments section, you could go to text box, and here is a space that says my notes. Feel free to answer both of your questions in that box over there. So for number 1, what I want you to think about is, what does it mean by effect? How do writers and speakers want to affect their audience? What do they want to do to their audience? So one thing that they might want to do is make you feel something, make you believe something, make you think something. Sometimes they're trying to persuade you. Sometimes they're trying to inform you or tell you a story or make you feel a type of way about a character or a situation. So when you think of all of the different things that a writer or speaker could be trying to make happen to their audience, they use certain methods to make you experience whatever their goal is. So your answer to this should be about those methods. What do writers and speakers do with language to make you feel a type of way or understand something the way they want you to understand it, so on and so forth. And that will help guide you with this question. So number 2 says, how do performers communicate meaning to an audience? So when it says meaning, it means you have to think about what that means precisely. Obviously, you could watch something happen and understand the basic plot, but sometimes there is a deeper meaning to whatever it is that they want you to understand. Maybe the plot could be enhanced by a speaker putting their emotions into it and helping turn the plot into something that you experience beyond just the superficial level. You feel it because you could relate to it. Or maybe they're trying to teach you a lesson about something. Whatever it is that they're trying to communicate, you have to think about, how do those performers communicate those things? Like, how do they change the way they present? If they just talk to you like, once upon a time, there was a little girl and she was blah, 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 and you're not going to really feel much. You're not going to really learn much from it. So think about what they do to make you experience whatever change they want you to experience. Now, after you are done answering those 2 questions, the next thing is developing vocabulary. It says, look through the table of contents and use a QHT chart to sort the academic vocabulary and literary terms. One academic goal is to move all the words to the T column by the end of the unit. So in case you don't remember what a QHT chart is, I'm going to go ahead and put a text box here. A text box here to remind you what each of those letters stands for. So Q means question mark, meaning I have no idea what this word means. I've never heard it before, and it's completely foreign to me. It might as well be a different language. H is, I think I've heard of that word, but I'm not 100% sure I understand what it means. And then T is for teach, meaning I know for sure what this word means, and I could teach it to somebody else. That's how confident I am that I understand this word. Now that you have that, you go back to that second page of the document where it had all of these vocabulary words. So I'm going to, once again, under comment, use the text box, and beside the word, I would write a Q if I have no idea what that word means, an H if I've heard of that word, and a T if I could teach that word. So precise. Well, I've heard that word for sure, but maybe I don't know what it means. So I'm gonna put an H. Structure. Oh, I definitely know what a structure is, so maybe I'll put a T. So as you see, as you go through each of these words, you add whatever letter is appropriate based on your knowledge of those words. Now, obviously, your knowledge of those words is going to be different than my knowledge of them, so what you put doesn't have to be what I've put here. It could be however you feel about them. So let's go back to once you're done going through all of those vocabulary words, we're going to go back to 4.1 so that we can complete that activity. So, unpacking Embedded Assessment 1. It says, do a close reading of Embedded Assessment 1. Underline or highlight key skills and knowledge you will need to be successful with the assignment. So it specifically says key skills, meaning things you have to be able to do, and knowledge, meaning things you have to know. Okay, so we're looking for things you have to do and things you have to know. So it says your assignment is to write, so that's something you have to do, and present a monologue about a topic that sparks a strong emotion. Now, I know you already know what a strong emotion is, but I don't know if you know what a monologue is, and I'm just gonna write a note right above that saying, what is a monologue? Because that's something you're going to need to know in order to do that assignment when you get to the end of the unit. So now, you may choose to speak as yourself, or you may adopt a persona. So that means you can either use your own voice, meaning it's your own opinions, it's your own beliefs, it's your own feelings, or you can adopt a persona, meaning you could pretend to be someone else, like a character, or a different person. So the things you're going to need to know are, what is a monologue, what is a persona, how do I write and present a monologue, how do I speak as myself, how do I speak as a persona. So you're going to need to know about things like voice and tone, etc. Now it says you will work with your class to paraphrase the expectations and create a graphic organizer to use as the visual reminder of the required concepts and skills. After each activity, use this graphic to guide reflection about what you have learned and what you still need to learn to be successful on the embedded assessment. So in this section, we're going to be using the discussion board. And I'm going to just write that underneath here so that you remember. Discussion board. So, after this video is done and you are finished with everything else, you'll go forward to the discussion board to do this part. Creating an independent reading plan. Now, the unit focuses on literary text analysis, using language for effect and presentation skills. Throughout the unit, you will be asked to transform chunks of your selected independent reading text into monologue format, and you will practice delivering your text orally in front of your peers. After choosing a text, add it to your independent reading list and make a plan for when you will read and how many pages you will read each day. So let's once again highlight the things you do and the things you know. So you're going to need to know literary text analysis, like how, oh, whoops, that's not the right one. Area highlight. Literary text analysis, how to use language for effect, and you're going to need presentation skills. Now, you may already have some presentation skills, but we all have room for improvement. Throughout the unit, you will be asked to transform chunks of your selected independent reading text into monologue format, so you'll need to know how to do something in monologue format. And you'll need to also practice delivering your text orally in front of your peers. After choosing a text, add it to your independent reading list and make a plan, so that's the next thing. Make a plan for when you will read and how many pages you will read each day. Okay, and now here on the side, it says, in the first part of this unit, you will begin reading and creating monologues. Choose a work of fiction written from a first-person point of view. I'm gonna highlight that. First-person point of view. Now, if you don't know what first-person point of view is, that's when the text uses I. Like, I went to the store and saw my sister. It uses personal pronouns of I. So that's how you know it's first person. If you have any questions about whether the book of your choice is first person or not, feel free to ask and I could help clarify that for you. Now it says preview possible choices by reading a few pages to make sure the text is interesting to you. Use your reader-writer notebook to create a reading plan and respond to any questions, comments, or reactions you might have to your reading. You could also jot notes in your independent reading log. So there will be a space on Canvas for that as well. And I will post a further video to guide you on how to do that. We're getting close to the end of this video. I'm going to say 4.2 for my next video. And for now, I'm going to say that I hope that this helped you, and feel free to text me or leave comments in the comment section asking questions. I'll get back to you. And I hope this helps. Thanks.